Hey, hi guys, welcome to my channel. So in today's video, we'll be discussing about string manipulation. In the previous video, we discussed about string slicing, how we can extract substrings within the string. But in today's video, we'll be taking further steps and trying to understand some of the functionalities which are associated with strings. Okay, and that can make our life much more easier in dealing with such characters and strings. Okay, so suppose we have maybe sometimes we may make a mistake. Suppose I was supposed to write cricket, instead of that I wrote cricket. Example, and if I want to change it without initiating another variable, because if I initiate another variable, it'll again it'll increase the memory usage, right? Because it has now two variables stored into memory locations. We don't want that. So can we replace it here itself? So x dot replace. So replace is a function which works on a string, right? So first, it has got two arguments. First of all, it requires two arguments. The first argument, basically, the first argument which you have here is it requires what string you want to change, right? The string which needs to be replaced, that string. So here it is y, and this is what you're going to replace with. So maybe with t, of course, because cricket makes sense, right? So what I'll do here, so again, the first represents what are you going to change, and the second argument represents what are you going to change with. Okay, so let's say y of t, it'll give me cricket. Okay, suppose if I have, say, I have say any kind of string, say, something like this, DRITND. Okay, now if I do y dot, suppose I made a mistake here, the first d, it should have been, say, something like b. Just give an example. So this d, suppose this d should have been b, for an example. Okay, let's see how we can do it. But if I do here replace of d with b, what has happened here? It has replaced all the d's with b's, right? But I wanted to change only the first d, not the other d's, right? So what I'll do here, so can I do something like this? Replace, if I do d comma b comma 1, what happened here? It replaced only the first d, right? So there's a third silent argument, and that argument is basically it takes in that number, that occurrence, right? It's not an index, please understand that. It's just basically a number, d which you want to replace. So once I did one, so we saw that the third argument basically indicates that I'll replace only one d or a first b, which is on the left hand side, of course. But what if suppose if I write y, unless and until I save it, it is not going to make the replacement. But if I save it like this, then only it will save it. Otherwise, it's not going to save. Okay, it will remain as it is. All right, so let me run it again from here. Right, so my y is still here, still this, and now y dot replace. If I just simply copy paste this line of code and make it 2, what do we get? I get 2 b's. So basically, it will replace 2 d's with b. And if I make it 3, it will replace all the d's with b's. So suppose I have a sentence, okay? I love cats, or I love dogs rather, okay? Because I really love dogs. Okay, so this is a sentence. And let me save it in Z. Okay. If I want to extract the words from this sentence, how will I do it? So typically in natural language processing, right, one of the first pre-processing steps which goes into analyzing textual data or string data is to extract the words from paragraphs, so that we can understand at the word level. We know that in a sentence, a word is defined by spaces on one side or either side, right? So for I, space love indicates that I is a separate word, love is a separate word. Typically, we give a space and then start writing to indicate the start or finish of a word. So in Python, we have a function called split, which works on strings. So if I do z dot split, it'll extract the different words inside the string and give me a container which looks like enclosed square brackets. By default, it does it on white spaces. So if I do something like this, also it will do it on same thing. Right? If I do not indicate anything, by default, it does it on white spaces. I can in fact split on any element. So say I love, again, say my Z is this. So Z dot split, okay, on say O. What happened here? The O got removed out and I got everything else. So basically what it does is, if you look at what the split do, I love dogs. When I need split on white space or default splitting, it will remove the space out and it will simply give you 3 words. If I have I love dogs and if I do splitting on say O, and it will remove the O's out and it will create I space L as one word, then VE as one word, then space D as one word, and then GS as one word. So whatever is before that letter or after letter will be separated out as words. So I suppose I've extracted the email IDs at gmail.com. And if I want to extract only the username, then I'll simply do dot split on at. So I'll get the username. So these are functionalities which are very handy, guys. And we have to understand from basics. And that's why we're taking simple examples now. Slowly and steadily, as the playlist goes on, we'll be tackling much more interesting problems as well, tougher problems as well. We'll be doing case studies in parallel. So basically, my split function does not have any restrictions. It does not need to be used only on white spaces. It can be used everywhere. But anyways, if I want to extract words, typically I have to extract it on white space, right? Like this. But what I want you guys to focus on again is, what am I getting? The output. So let me save it somewhere. Let me save it, say, in Z1. Let me save this particular list of words, or the container of words. Okay. Now if I do type of Z1, it's a list. So a list in Python is a container enclosed with square brackets. It is useful for storing multiple information, multiple data points. So suppose if I have x equal to 2, if I want to save more elements in x, say 2, 3, I can simply use a list. Lists are typically, unidimensional. So it doesn't understand the concept of rows and columns. It's a vector, rather, I would say. It's a vector. And it is very useful. Lists are mutable as well. We can change elements inside a list. We can update lists with more new information. We can slice out information from lists, and lists are iterable as well. We can loop through the individual elements inside a list. So lists are the first data structure which you're going to target, and they are very, very important, guys. So stay tuned. In the next upcoming videos, we'll be dealing with lists. Thank you for watching. Please share, like, and subscribe. Thank you.